Hello, it's Alpida, and welcome to Transformational Tuesday. If you hopped on at 12, I apologize. I was doing a reading for a client. Speaking of which, if you would like a session today, I do have time. I also have time tomorrow and Thursday, and as well Friday morning. So please let me know. Um, okay, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to actually do the oracle reading first, okay? And then I will talk about the astrology, and I will also talk about ways that you can work with me. Um, and I'm going to do today since. Okay, anyway, I'm just giggling to myself because I was like, oh, I want to be done by 12:30, and I didn't get on till 12:15. So, anyway, let's try and keep this one short and sweet. So, let's see. What is the energy for this week, for the next 7 days? Mind you, tomorrow is Pluto going retrograde in Aquarius. And Pluto's not going far. It's not going to another sign. It's moving from 5 degrees 30 seconds to 3 degrees. But Pluto retrograde will be in effect till October 15th. So I'll be talking about that next. But let's pull some cards. What is this Pluto retrograde have for us, and also what is up for the week ahead? All right, one last shuffle. All right, as usual, I am using the uh, Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. All right, let's see what we have here. Earth magic, exposed and revealed, and the spirit of gratitude. Okay, so it's really interesting because I was just doing a tarot reading for a client, and I was just like, you need to music and movement, and this is what this earth magic card is about. So earth magic is about the physical realm, and like physical realm doesn't always mean like I gotta go make it myself. I gotta go do it myself. Sometimes the work are we have been conditioned from the moment that we were born that we need to work for everything. And as much as that I do believe that we need to work on those beliefs and transmute those limiting beliefs, and Pluto will help us with that over the next 5 months, especially in Aquarius, because Aquarius is about the collective energy, and there is some elements of the subconscious, but it's more about the superconscious. It's our connection to the universe, it's our connection to the divine, and it's our connection to each other, right? And so the work that sometimes we need to do is just go move our bodies. Okay, sometimes we can't, there's nothing we can do on the physical plane to move the energy. We need to actually go and dance. We need to go wash some dishes. We need to go take a walk or go for a run. And that's the power of earth magic. And although earth magic is like doing candles and spell work and herbs and things like that, earth magic is also like the things that we consume. So instead of looking at your food as like, oh, I just gotta fucking eat or it's yummy or whatever, looking at it as like, what am I putting into my body? Because you are putting part of the earth into your body, and being mindful of what that is. And it doesn't mean that we can't have our treats and our sugars and our ice cream. It just means like, are you consuming things that are of the earth? Although everything technically is of the earth, but is it more man-made or is it more nature-made? Okay, so this is really important in the next week, because for Pluto to do his transformational work, which I'll talk about in a minute, we need to be in our bodies, especially for our freaking air signs, okay? For Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. You've got to move out of your head and into your body. And for the other signs that you feel like you're constantly in your head planning and thinking and worrying and stressing, you need to move into your body. And the best way to do that is to literally move your body. Go dance, go clean something, go move something, go for a walk, go for a run, go to the gym, something physical to move your energy. Like sometimes when I find like I'm scrolling too much or worrying too much or whatever, I literally get the fuck up and go to the bathroom, and I go get a glass of water, or I go get a snack. Like eating is very grounding, right? if you're pagan, there, you know, in a traditional pagan ritual, at the end of it, especially if you're in a coven or a group, there's ales and cake. That's to ground. You're drinking and you're eating in order to ground your energy. So that's part of earth magic. So it's really important this next week, as Pluto is deepening the transformation and the alchemy that we've been going through since he moved into Pluto. I'm sorry, since Pluto moved into Aquarius, deeper. So this is not about going back. Pluto retrograde is not about, like, it's not like Mercury retrograde where like we're reassessing, reevaluating, renegotiating all that stuff. Pluto's about going deeper. Okay, I want you to think of it as like, this is the image that I'm getting. It's kind of like when you're coloring with crayons, you know how they like don't really cover very evenly and you got to do a second or a third coat? That's what Pluto retrograde is about, going deeper, deepening that color, adding more layers, going or revealing more layers, which is the next card, exposed and revealed. So the next 5 months, some of the signs, and you want to kind of look at your astrology first. You want to look at where Pluto is in your birth chart, and you also want to look at where Aquarius is in your birth chart, because those two things will tell you what you're going through. Okay, so Pluto for me is in the eighth house, okay, which is, you know, the metaphysical. It's death, it's rebirth, it's sex, death, and taxes, basically. But it's also the occult. And it's like that's the area that things are going to be really moving for me. Okay? I have my north node there. So for me, it's like my south, your south node is like the gift skills from a previous lifetime, or the gift skills that you came into it. Think of like, you know, uh Beethoven being gifted. That was his, you know, south node, which I don't not know what sign it was in, so please don't ask me that. So for me, it's in Taurus, and Taurus is like the hard worker. It's doing things by yourself, like doing your hands, and there's still some of it. Like I make jewelry, I sew, but this life is more about manifesting and using my psychic abilities, which is the eighth house north node, right? So it's like I kind of toggle between the two, and that's okay if you're doing that. But it's like, how can I lean more into the manifesting, more into my psychic abilities, and rely less on the handiwork, right? The other thing is Aquarius is in my 12th house, which is the subconscious, right? It's also the land of dreams. So Pluto is helping my dreams come true. Pluto's helping me go deeper into patterns. And I've already been experiencing it because Pluto's in Aquarius. So that's my sign, right? I've been feeling it. Like, am I living the life of my dreams? How can I go deeper? How can I take that vision that feels light years and centuries away and bring it closer to me? It's going to, excuse me, it's going to mean different things for different people, but it's really about being exposed and revealed, and not necessarily being exposed like the emperor's new clothes and feeling like you're naked, but you will have these ahas and these revelations that will happen over the next 5 months. But they're not going to be necessarily like this huge like aha moment. It's going to be like, oh, it's kind of like, instead of the light switch being like it's dark and now the light's on and it feels like stadium lights and you're like under the spotlight, or like a flashlight in your window by a cop, it's going to be more of like the dimmer switch is coming on. And now you can see and you're like, "Oh, that's where that comes from. Oh, that's why I do that. Oh, that works for me." And again, I with with the full moon in Scorpio last Friday on the 1st, we're already experiencing that. Okay? You have to, one of the things with astrology is that these transits, as they're called, and aspects build upon each other. They're not random. They're a sequence of events, and we may not always understand what the big picture is, but just like a constellation, they are dots and they all connect and they're all leading to something. Okay? So this week is the start of that. Feeling exposed, feeling like things are being revealed. Like sometimes you will feel like a raw nerve, and that's where you want to bring in some water and earth energy. So water being like going to the beach, going to the ocean, taking like an Epsom salt bath, or like a bath salt bath, or even a salt scrub in the shower will help. That salt water, you can gargle with salt water. You can have some salt water, like literally drink salt water, just putting in a little bit of like Celtic sea salt, or like a mineral salt, not just regular iodized salt. It's got no nutrients. You want to use some, and not pink Himalayan either. You want to use like more of like the gray salts. I like the Celtic sea salt because it's got like tons of minerals, and that'll help you balance that earth, because the salt is, well, the salt is earth and water. It's one of those things, right? And then the water energy, so that'll help you. Okay, the next is the spirit of gratitude. So this week, being grateful for the things that you have, and from a genuine place. Like sometimes gratitude doesn't look as like thank you. Sometimes gratitude looks like I love you, I appreciate you, I thank you, right? It's not always like I'm grateful for you. It's those moments where you're even celebrating, right? Like being like, "Oh my god, you know, happy birthday," or "That's a great accomplishment." One of the things that I've been really working on is that, like, I have these long to-do lists, right? And I'm trying to focus on like three things, three major tasks that need to get done. And not even major tasks. Sometimes it's one major task and like two minor tasks, but it's like celebrating what I did accomplish at the end of the day. So like yesterday I had three things to do, and I didn't do all well, I did two, but one of them I did what I was supposed to do for the next 4 days, 90% of it yesterday. So instead of doing the third task, I did 90% of the first task, and I was just like, "Well, okay. That's interesting." Like, I originally wanted to be like, well, what the fuck? I didn't get the other things done. But it was just like, okay, but I did get things done, and I'm 90% done on that task. So this morning or this afternoon, I'm going to finish that task, and then I can move on to task number two, right? And task number three was already done. So sometimes, like, our schedule gets shuffled, or our brain is like, I started this task, I want to finish this task, I don't want to break it up over 4 days. And especially if you're ADHD or on that spectrum, like sometimes you're just like, I'm just going to do a tiny chunk, and then the dopamine and the momentum builds, and you end up finishing that task, and you're like, but I had all these other things to do. Take the win. Take the win. Okay, so that's part of that gratitude spectrum, is celebrating. It doesn't always have to look like I'm so grateful and all the 10 million things you're grateful for. It's celebrating things. It's saying thank you. It's saying I appreciate you. It's saying I love you. It's saying I miss you. Sometimes that is an expression of gratitude. Like, I don't spend enough time with you, I don't see you, I don't talk to you enough. That is also expressing gratitude. So, and especially with this, like, uh exposed and revealed card, part of what Pluto will show you is what's missing. Okay, what are the key ingredients? I want you to think of Pluto not as death and rebirth. I want you to think of it as alchemy. And part of the process of alchemy is the dissolve state. Things need to break down in order for them to be reconfigured into something else, to transform. Think of the butterfly that needs to turn into a pile of, the caterpillar that needs to turn into a pile of goo in order for it to turn into butterfly. That is Pluto's domain. But Pluto isn't just doing it for shits and giggles. Pluto's doing it for a deeper transformation, so that you can actually find fulfillment and wealth, and whatever wealth means to you: abundance, happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction, success. Pluto's got a reason. And Pluto, like I mentioned in the description, it actually comes from the word plusio, which means the wealthy one in Greek. So it's really not the planet of death and rebirth. It is the planet of alchemy and wealth. It is literally mining for gold and mining for the precious gems that are our gift skills, talents, abilities, wisdom, knowledge. And how do we turn that into fulfillment, satisfaction, success, and money? So really, it is the planet of money, okay? And then, of course, our fucking whatever, it's not a planet. Yes, it fucking is, in my opinion. Okay, so that's our oracle reading for today. If you would like your own May sneak peek, what May and this Pluto retrograde will mean for you for the next 5 months. You can DM, you can message me. May sneak peek. That's $50 for a Zoom session. It is recorded and it will be uploaded to your own private Google Drive folder, and I will send you the link. I like to do that for my clients. That way that all their readings are together, and that. The other thing is, if you'd like a crystal chakra clearing, this is my own creation. Basically, I have a mat that has the 7 chakras, and I lay crystals on it intuitively. And basically, those crystals are acting on your chakras. I'm using that mat as a surrogate to shift the energy in your chakras. I also go through each chakra, and I do a video while I do this, and I will tell you what's going on in each of the chakras and things that you might want to shift or adjust or just pay attention to. And then I will ask the pendulum to clear that chakra to the highest level possible. For right now, you never want to open up your chakras all the way because our nervous system can't handle that. Okay, we open them a little bit at a time. We clear and remove what we are able to. Kind of think of like a room that is just clear, like totally cluttered. You can't do it in a day. You have to go and do a little bit at a time, right? And that's what we do. And then I do your entire aura, and I put you in a big bubble of protection, okay? They've been really powerful. I have clients that get them once a month. I do one for myself. I try to do it once a week, but I definitely do 2 to 3 a month when I remember. And then the other option is the money recalibration. So this is a one-on-one 8-week container where we have 3 Zoom sessions where we talk about what is going on in your money and what needs to shift. And then I will be doing some sort of a process with you. It could be a past life regression through hypnosis. It might be Akashic field healing. It might be crystal chakra clearing in those 3 sessions. And also things to do on the back end, like, you know, are you buying the coffee that you want? It's the little things that actually make a difference. Are you saving a percentage of every paycheck or every sale? And even if it's $1, let me tell you, I have, my bank is set up so that it rounds up. So if I buy something for $7.18, it takes the 82 cents and it puts it into my savings account. And you'd be surprised how like every month I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like there's this money that's going in there, right? You have 30 transactions. That's a potential for almost $30 effortlessly to be saved, right? And it's always there. If I need to transfer it back, I can do that, right? So things like that. And then the other 5 weeks, you will be receiving a audio that uses hypnosis and money Reiki in order to shift your beliefs and rewire your brain around money. So we're talking about asking for money, earning money, receiving money, spending money, and holding or savings money. So we do all 5 of those because they're all 5 are really important. You don't want to just focus on receiving, because if you don't feel safe holding on to money, then it's just going to go right through your fingers. The more you make, the more you'll spend, right? So we look at all those 5 areas, and that's $444. Payment plans are available. If you want to bring a friend or a partner, they come in for half off, so you can always split the costs and pay $333 each. Okay, so let me know if that calls to you. I have 3 spots available for the month of May and June. Months of May and June. The other thing is I am opening up spots for one-on-one. It's energetic life and business coaching all in one. So it's 3 sessions a month, and we work on the energetics first to clear your energy so that there isn't resistance when I say, hey, spend a little money on yourself, or, you know, go post on Facebook. We want to work on the resistance first, giving people tasks to do without dealing with the inner stuff that's going on, whether it's energetic, whether it's mindset stuff, whether it's, you know, resources or whatever it is pointless, because then you're just fighting willpower. And most people do not have the willpower to sustain these things, okay? Especially if you're ADHD, especially if you have an undefined ego in human design. You are not designed to do things through willpower, okay? So like one of the things for me is like putting lotion on. If my lotion is in the bottom of the drawer, I am not never gonna do it. That's why it's on my freaking nightstand. And at one point there was a lotion at every sink. I gotta do that again because my hands are dry from the winter. So it's like using your environment, all these little hacks, all these little tools in order for it to be easy. Like I have this like desk, it's like a monitor holder, right? It's got a shelf and then it's got a drawer. And the first drawer is my tarot and oracle cards because I sit here and do my readings for my clients and for these lives. I don't want these to be in the drawer across the room. The top drawer of my dresser, which that green thing that you see right there, that's my dresser, has more cards. And it's also got my coloring stuff in there and incense and my crystal chakra clearing stuff. If I want to go pick another deck, I can. But if a client says, I want a session, my cards are right here. I just sit here, turn my laptop on, go into Zoom, and I am ready to go. Okay, I don't have to go looking for my cards. And this is the Rohrig deck. Carl Rohrig, he's a German creator, and they're right here because these are the ones I use most often. If I feel called to get another deck, there's a reason, I'm inspired, there's motivation, and I'll go look in the drawer and find another deck. But make your life easy. Work with the brain that you have, the energy that you have, the person that you are, okay? And that's part of the money recalibration. It's not about you becoming someone else, okay? It's about you unbecoming. It's about letting go. And this is what Pluto's doing. It's saying, okay, you got to let go of the shoulds. You got to let go of the, like, trying to be normal because nobody's fucking normal. Even the neurotypicals are not, there is no such thing as normal. Even normal on my wash machine, I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what that means. I don't even think there is a normal anymore. It's more like towels, regular wash, whatever. There's no normal on there. Normal is not a thing. Okay? It's a judgment. We need to stop judging ourselves. Okay. So if you're interested in doing a 3-month or 6-month container, one-on-one coaching, 3 sessions a month, and in between crystal chakra clearings every week, and then those 3 sessions will be a mixture of energetic work, some sort of clearing or energetic work, coming up with like what are some actions that you can take that feel good, that feel aligned, and then check-in and accountability. Okay, and there'll be check-ins in between. So if that interests you, message me and we can talk about what that looks for you. Okay. Okay, I'm going to spend like 5 minutes talking about the astrology, and then I am out as I put my cards away. So, the astrology. So, the big thing this week, and the big thing for maybe not the whole month of May, but is Pluto going retrograde tomorrow in Aquarius, okay? So, Pluto, like I said, is the planet of transformation. It's about alchemy, and it really is about alchemy around wealth. But it's not just money, although money is like it's 85% of it. It's also about quality of life. Pluto is not about the hustle culture, okay? Pluto is like the CEO that designs things and creates efficiency and allows money to come to him. Not the greedy CEO that takes advantage of their employees and their employees live in poverty. It's more of like the generous CEO, I don't know. There's a couple companies out there where the CEO like pays himself the same as his like lowest paying employee. That's Pluto. Excuse me. He's not about ripping people off. He's not about hustle culture. He is about sustained wealth, wealth for his kingdom. Pluto measures wealth by how is the smallest, lowest, and that term is relative, person in his kingdom living. Okay, so the poorest person in his kingdom is the measure of the wealth of his kingdom. That's his barometer as to how well his kingdom, the world as a whole, especially because it's Aquarius, so this is about the collective. So Pluto's saying is like if the poorest person in your world, aka Earth, is struggling and can't eat, then you don't have wealth. It's not a wealthy Earth. It's not a wealthy country. It is not a wealthy city, town, household. Okay? And that's part of the restructuring. Now, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was American Revolution. Okay? However, that people forget about the American Revolution is that our founding fathers were not poor. Okay? And that's why the Constitution is written in the way that it is, because it was wealthy white men, aka that's what our government fucking is, most of it. It's getting better, making laws for wealthy white men. They weren't thinking about the children. They weren't thinking irony, right? They weren't thinking about the women. They weren't thinking about the slaves. They weren't because back during the American Revolution, remember there was slavery. They weren't thinking about the people at the bottom. Okay? And so that's why the laws are the way that they are. That's why the tax code is the way that it is. And now this Pluto in Aquarius is saying, yeah, you didn't learn your lesson last time. You came here from England to create a democracy, and you ended up creating a pseudo monarchy, basically an oligarchy or whatever you want to call it. And I know that's not exactly what we have here, but just from Pluto's perspective, that's what's going on here. And he's like, no, no, no. This is not what we talked about. This is not what the task was back in 1776. It's not what the task was. That was not the fucking assignment. You got it wrong. You've had 40 some odd years to get it fucking right. And yeah, now Daddy Pluto's coming in and saying, tisk, tisk, tisk. That's why things are falling apart, because it isn't working. In order for a country, in order for a planet to be successful and to be wealthy and to really be at the highest vibration, the person at the bottom, and I don't even like that term, but the poorest person needs to be able to have a good life. And a good life doesn't mean I pay my bills and I have $1 left over. A good life means there's savings, there's money for fun, all the bills are taken care of before they need to be. Like, they are living a good quality of life. And not because they're working 80 hours a week, but because they're doing a fair exchange of energy. Okay? So this Pluto in Aquarius is like all the things that we've been doing for the past 2 years since Pluto moved into Aquarius. It's like we're deepening that. So you will see a lot of things change in the next 5 months. Yourself personally, in the areas that you have Aquarius and you have Pluto in your birth chart. If you are an Aquarius, we are it. One, we are getting pushed into the limelight. I feel it. Like, there's this push to put myself out there, to express myself, to share myself, to be like, I do this and I do this and I'm gonna do this and all the things, and not judging it, not being like, well, you know, if you're gonna do tarot, you should just do tarot. Fuck that shit. Aquarius is not about that shit. Aquarius is not about that shit. Aquarius is the multitasker. Aquarius is the Mad Hatter and is like, I'm going to do all the things that bring me joy. And that, if that's 12 different fucking things, it's 12 different fucking things. It's finding the rhythm to make it sustainable so it doesn't feel like clutter and chaos. But where does everything come from? Creation comes from chaos. It's when we sit in that chaos and we don't create and we don't follow through that becomes a problem, right? And I know for me, as a gate 42 Chiron, if you know what that means in human design, part of my gift is bringing things to completion. Gate 42 is the gate of harvest, okay? It's also the gate of detachment, but it's also, Aquarians can be very detached. Sometimes the way that I get things done is to not be emotional about it. To not be like, oh my God, I've got 12 fucking things to do. Be like, okay, what's the first thing? What is the most important thing? What absolutely has to get done today? Because it needs to get done. Okay? I have to get super logical and precise with myself and stop judging my ADHD brain or whatever is going on and the way that I do things. Okay? So sometimes I need rigid structure, and then sometimes I need to be like a Roomba and allow myself to wander around. And knowing what day and what task is for which is part of the process, is that discernment. Okay? And Pluto is deepening that. Pluto is saying, especially with it being in Aquarius, it's like, this is not a time to be normal. This is not the time to silence your voice. This is not about the time to fit in. This is the time to let your freak flag fly, to be yourself, to be your unique self. and to be more of your unique self. That's the unbecoming. For many of us, this Pluto retrograde is like we've already been shedding layers and letting go of relationships and things that don't serve us, but this is going to be deeper. It's going to be about the inward journey. For Aquarians and the fixed signs, Pluto in retrograde is more about the inner work. For other signs, it is some of the outer work too. But for us, it's like, okay, are you practicing what you preach? Are you say you're going to do this, but are you actually doing it? Or you're saying this, but do you actually believe it? So I've been working on my inner critic and just being like, not fighting with my inner critic, not arguing with my inner critic, be like, okay, I hear you. And then being like, but I'm already doing it. But that got handled. Yeah, I didn't do it the way normal people would do it, but it got done. That yesterday, like sitting on my bed with like piles of fabric that I was sorting for a project and bunches of beads that I'm destashing and getting rid of, and being like wanting to call myself a hot mess. And it's like, no, but look at what I did. One, I let go of that big bag of fabric scraps that like last week I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to keep it because I find stuff in there that I can use. And then yesterday I sorted it into piles because I was looking for something. Somebody was looking for circles, and I had all these circles from cutting witch hats. Like when you cut the brim, there's a circle in the middle where your head goes through that's left over, and I just had them in my scrap thing, and somebody's looking for circles, and I was like, look, I've got 30 some odd of them. You can have them for $10. She hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I just sent her pictures, right? So she could see what they are. And like part of me is like, I could do something with them. And it's like, okay, but the idea hasn't dropped in and somebody else can use them. And I did keep a couple because there were some fabrics that I wanted. And there was some interfacing in there that I can always use because you can just patchwork it. But it's like, I got a lot of stuff done. And maybe not maybe sorting that bag wasn't on the list, but there was a reason why it happened. And then I have to celebrate the fact that like now I have 4 bags that I can sell, okay, that I can get rid of, that I can let go of. And this is part of Pluto. You will, especially for the fixed sign, is super asterisk PPPPPS for Aquarians and Aquarius sun moon and rising and north node. If your north node is in Aquarius, this is super highlighted for you. You're going to find yourself going into autopilot and doing things like that because your brain's like, okay, I told you to fucking do it. I told you to fucking do it. I told you to fucking do it. And then it takes over. You go into override. You go into autopilot where your soul, or whatever you want to call it, your intuition takes over. And then you're doing a task and you're like, what the hell? This is not what I got up to do. And then instead of judging yourself and being like, what the fuck? I already had a task. I had a list. I was organized. And now I've got 3 million scraps of fabric on my bed. No. Being like, I did it. This needed to get done. This person was waiting for pictures. I got that done. And then, and then plus. Okay. So the way you navigate through Pluto retrograde is not to resist it, to let it do the things. And if you have priorities, you do those first thing in the morning, okay? And if you're, ADHD, doing difficult things first thing is a struggle, start with the easiest thing. Flip your list upside down. But make sure that you're hitting those priorities because Pluto will put you into Zumba mode, not Zumba mode, Rumba mode, and you'll find yourself doing something on autopilot that you did not plan to do that day. And this is going to be our reality for the next 5 months. So you better lean into it. Make good use of it, okay? And part of it's going to be like, what are the intentions that are running in the background? What are the things that you're like, I should do that. I want to do that. Not should as in like societal obligations and things like that, but like, oh, I really want to do that. I really, like this weekend, I was going to write a book. Long story short. And I didn't. I ended up doing is I went to the thrift store on Saturday, brought home all this yummy stuff, and I was like, yeah, I went to the thrift store months ago and bought yummy stuff, and I never did anything with them. And because some the thing with the thrift store is you find amazing things, but sometimes they're not your size. And also for me with menopause, one of my menopause things, quirks, is like I can't do sleeves. Like in the wintertime, I can handle a short sleeve or a long sleeve for a short period of time. Like if, especially if I'm going outside and it's fucking cold. But on a day to day, I cannot. There's just something about that I don't know if my body regulates its temperature by my shoulder. I don't know what the fuck it is. I do not care. And so anytime I buy something that's got short sleeves, I need to remove it. And I removed the sleeves from a bunch of things on Saturday. I did a whole bunch of seam ripping and cutting. I bought this beautiful skirt. It's black and it's got laser cut out flowers on it. It's a cover up. And I was just like, first of all, I don't know anybody who is that fucking tall. This thing was probably almost as tall as me. Okay. But I was just like, I'm not going to wear it like this. And I was like, if I cut it and make it a short skirt, I can take the rest of the top part and make a top. And then I had this purple lace dress that I really love, but it had a cream lining and it kind of gave like Carol Burnett, like Mama's Family kind of old granny vibe. And I don't like that. And it had sleeves. And I was like, ooh, let me take the sleeves off that. Let me take the lining off that. I'm going to either make a new lining or order like a purple slip dress or a purple slip to put underneath it because I think that would look so much more yummy. And I'm going to take that cream lining and make a slip for the inside of the top and the bottom for the cover up. And it was just like I was literally taking pieces and shifting them over into things. And I got so much done. So much done. I mean, I didn't like do any sewing, but I got all the cutting and all the seam ripping. And last week I actually took one of those thrift store finds that I had removed the sleeves and I just hemmed the sleeves. And it looked like literally took like, I don't know, like 5 minutes to do that. But like we don't do it sometimes. Like I know for me when I sew, I want to sit down with a bunch of projects and just sew. It's that hyper fixation. It's also an efficiency trait that comes from being a manifesting generator. So like I have this project I'm working on for my daughter because it's her birthday this week and I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut some tarot wraps that were ordered by a client. I'm going to do all that cutting and then I also have some new tarot bag fabrics that I want to work with. I'm going to get all that cutting done. And then I'm going to sit at the sewing machine and I'm going to get her thing done. I'm going to get some tarot bags for tomorrow's Worthy Wednesday post. And then if I have time, I will work on the tarot wraps. Otherwise, those tarot wraps will be worked on tomorrow and Thursday and out the door on Friday. So it's like when I batch things like that and it makes sense to me because my brain is built for efficiency, it makes sense. And this is part of that Pluto. It's like working with who you are. Having my cards where I use them, right? Having like I have like all my tools here because I sit here at this desk and work on jewelry, right? Having things where I need them and having them in front of me so they're not out of sight, out of mind. And also batching things. Like I hand wash my dishes right now, long story. And it's like, it really does go faster when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do all the bowls. I'm going to do all the plates. I'm going to do all the containers. I'm going to do all the silverware. I'm going to do all the pots. It just, my brain works that way. And instead of resisting it and saying, what difference does it make? It's like, if it makes my brain happy and it helps me get it done much more easily and faster, why the fuck would I resist that? Why would I resist that? Okay? So that's part of what Pluto in Aquarius is doing for us. If you would like to see how that is affecting you, you can definitely either schedule a May sneak peek or the Clarity and Clearing, because in that clarity you get that 20-minute tarot reading anyway. So we'll talk about that. And also, if you want to work with me for the next 5 to 6 months, helping go deeper on these Plutonian themes of satisfaction and wealth and depth and sustainability, right, in our home life and in our work life, then definitely message me and let's talk about working together. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Let me know what resonates. I always love to hear what you got out of these videos. And I will catch you next time. Take care. Bye.